In the last class, we discussed the quantum numbers. Today, our topic is energy level diagram for electron in an atom. So, what was the need to study this topic? So, in the last topic, we discussed an atom has the different orbitals. In that orbitals, the electrons are present. To fill up the electrons in different orbitals, so the order of energy of those orbitals is needed. So that means which is lower in energy, which is higher in energy. The relative energies of those orbitals can be shown by an arrangement. That arrangement is called energy level diagram. So this energy level diagram we studied it in two cases. One is energies of different orbitals in hydrogen atom, and another one is energies of different subshells in multi-electron atoms. First, go to the first one. Energies of different orbitals in hydrogen atom. So when we draw the energies of the different subshells, okay, we get an arrangement like this. This is called energy level diagram of different orbitals in the case of hydrogen atom. So from this diagram, first statement we concluded is all the subshells in a given principal energy level having the same energy. So that means, so let us take the 2s or 2p or 3s, 3p, 3d, 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f. So in their respective energy levels, whatever the subshells are present, all those are having the same energy. So let us, for example, let us take second energy level. In the second energy level, what are the possibilities? 2s and 2p. Both the principal quantum number here n is equal to 2, here also n is equal to 2. Here L is equal to 0, here L is equal to 1. So both the subshells are present in the same energy level. So their energies are same, that is 2s is equal to 2p. That means all the subshells present in a given principal energy, okay, having the same energy even though their azimuthal quantum number is different. So similarly, let us take another example in the third energy level. So in the third energy level, what are the subshells are possible? 3s, 3p and 3d. Here what is n is equal to 3? In all the cases n is equal to 3. And here L is equal to 0, here L is equal to 1, here L is equal to 2. All the subshells present in the third energy level having the same energy. 3s is equal to 3p, 3p is equal to 3d, even though their azimuthal quantum number is different. So that's why the energy of various orbitals present in a principal energy level, in a particular principal energy level, does not depends upon the azimuthal quantum number. It is depends upon only the principal quantum number. So that we can say simply, so all the subshells in a given principal energy having the same energy. So that means like that in the second energy level 2s and 2p subshells are having the same energy. In the third case 3s, 3p and 3d. Similarly in the fourth case, that is what are that? 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f. The four subshells are also having the same energy. So here one important point is, that is commonly repeated in the inorganic chemistry, that is degenerate orbitals. Degenerate orbitals. That means the orbitals which are having the same energy, orbitals having same energy are called degenerate orbitals. So, for example, 2s and 2p is there. In case of hydrogen atom, the 2s and 2p, okay, orbitals are degenerate orbitals or not? Yes, they are said to be degenerate orbital because in the energy level diagram, okay, the 2s orbital and 3 2p orbitals are having the same energy. That's why the 2s and 2p subshell, whatever the orbitals are present, all those orbitals are called which one? Degenerate orbitals. Similarly, in the case of hydrogen atom, 3s, 3p and 3d. In all the three subshells, whatever the orbitals are present, okay, all those are also called as degenerate orbitals. Similarly, the fourth subshell also, so how many orbitals are present? 7, 5, 12 plus 3, 15 plus 1, totally 16. All the 16 orbitals are having the same energy. That's why all the 16 orbitals are called as degenerate orbitals. So that the conclusion point is here, which are having the same energy, which are having the different energy. Just you can keep beside this time. What do you mean by the degenerate orbitals? So degenerate orbitals, nothing but orbitals having the same energy are called degenerate orbitals. Then comes to your hydrogen atom. What is that hydrogen atom case here? Hydrogen atom consists of only one electron. Definitely, always the electron look for the which one? Going to the orbital which is having the lowest energy. We are among the different subshells. So which subshell is having the lower energy? 1s. So that the electron is present in the 1s subshell. So the electron present in the 1s subshell is corresponds to the most stable state. Most stable state means it has the lower energy. So wherever the most stable and having the lower energy, that state we are always called as a ground state. So in the case of hydrogen atom, the electron present in the 1s orbital is corresponds to the most stable state and low energy. So that's why, so the electron present in the 1s orbital is said to be in which state? Ground state. Suppose instead of the electron present in the 1s orbital, if it might be present in 2s or 2p or some other higher orbitals, then those orbitals or subshells are corresponding to the less stable state and having the higher energy than 1s. So that's why those states are called as here excited states. So these are also commonly we discussed in the inorganic chemistry. Commonly we have written ground state, first excited state, second excited state, third excited state, like that. So ground state is always corresponds to the most stable state having the lower energy. Excited state is said to be the less stable state having the more energy. So in the case of hydrogen atom, 1s orbital, if the electron is present in the 1s orbital, it is said to be ground state. Instead of 1s, somewhere it is present in any other orbitals, higher orbital is present, that is called excited state. So comes to the second one, that is energies of different subshells in multi-electron atoms. So there is a difference is there between the energy level diagram for the subshells in hydrogen atom to the multi-electron atoms. What is the difference? That is, by seeing that diagram, we can easily predict it. In case of hydrogen atom, we say that the energies of various orbitals in a given principal energy level are same, even though their azimuthal quantum number is different. But in the case of multi-electron atom, the energies of various subshells in a given principal energy level having different azimuthal quantum number values are different. So simply, the different subshells in a given principal energy level having different energies. What do you mean by that one? For example, let us take if the second energy level, in the second energy level 2s and 2p. So what are the principal quantum number here? 2. Here also 2. Azimuthal quantum number L is equal to 0, L is equal to 1. In case of hydrogen atom, the 2s subshell and 2p subshell are having the same energy. But in case of multi-electron atom, the 2s orbital is having the low energy than 2p. In a given principal energy level, until the second energy level, different subshells S and P having different energies. So the 2s is having the less energy than 2p. But in case of hydrogen atom, 2s is equal to 2p. That is the main difference between the energies of different subshells from hydrogen atom to multi-electron atoms. Suppose let us take the another one, 3s, 3p and 3d. In this case, so your n is equal to 3, L is equal to 0, your n is equal to 3, your L is equal to 1, your n is equal to 3, L is equal to 2. So, the different subshells S, P and T in a given principal energy level n is equal to 3 having different energies. From this energy level diagram, the 3s is having the low energy than 3p, then 3p is less than which one? 3d. 3d subshell is having the higher energy, 3s subshell is having the lower energy. That's why we can give the one statement. Different subshells, okay, in a given principal energy having different energies in multi-electron atoms. But whereas in the case of hydrogen atom, all the subshells in a given principal energy level having same energy. That is the basic difference in the energy pattern. Then immediately the question comes to our mind. So why it is different from hydrogen atom to multi-electron atoms? Why in the case of hydrogen atom, all the subshells in a principal energy level having the same energy, but whereas in the multi-electron atoms it is different. The reason is, you know very well, so the nucleus and these are the, for examples, different energy levels. And here electron is present. In the case of hydrogen atom, only one electron is present. That's why. So this electron is attracted by the nucleus. That means in case of hydrogen atom, only one kind of interaction is there between the nucleus and the electron, that is, what is that? Attraction. But whereas in multi-electron atoms means more than one electron. Suppose if electrons are present here and electrons are present here. Here, two kinds of interactions we can observe. What are that? That one is attraction between the electrons and the nucleus. And also, the another interaction it is repulsion between the every electron and the another electron. Repulsions between every electron and another electrons. So this is the two types of interactions we can observe. It is very clearly here only one attraction force is there, but here along with the attraction repulsions also exist. These repulsions between the every electron and the another electron is responsible for the different energy pattern observed in the subshells of which one beta? Multi-electron atoms. So this is one of the reasons generally they can say. And when we can discuss somewhat deeply the different energetic pattern of subshells in multi-electron atoms is because of generally said the three reasons. One is nuclear charge, and the second one is principal energy level, and the third one is electrons present in the inner shells. So these are the three reasons are commonly tell to cause of the different energetic pattern observed in the subshells in multi-electron atoms. One is nuclear charge. Generally, as the nuclear charge is increased, the attractive forces between the electron and the nucleus is increases, so that electron is strongly bound to the nucleus. That means it is come very close to the nucleus, so that its energy is decreases. That means it is having the low energy. So that will be affected the energetic pattern. Principal energy level. As we go from the first to second, second to third, third to fourth, it is very clearly said that, okay, the energy of the subshells is what happened? Increases. Okay, that is, we can say like that. The electrons present in the inner shells. To explain this one, we can also include these two factors also, nuclear charge as well as the principal energy level. Electrons present in the inner shells. What do you mean by that one? Generally, in an atom, so these are the shells are present. In the first shell, some electrons are present. In the second shell, the electrons are present. In the third shells, also electrons are present. Generally, the electrons which are present in the outside, okay, the last shell is called as outermost electrons. Outermost shell electrons, or these are also called as valency electrons or valency shell electrons. And the rest of the electrons, okay, except outermost shell electrons, the remaining two electrons, these together we call inner shell electrons. Inner shell electrons. So now here the concept is, so whenever these electrons are present in the different subshell, generally one question comes to our mind. Does all the electrons present in inner shell as well as the outermost shell experience the same type of the nuclear charge from the nucleus? That is the question can arise. So it is not, okay, correct. All the electrons do not experience the same amount of the nuclear charge from the nucleus. Generally, whatever the inner shell electrons are present, these inner shell electrons are always, okay, prevent the nuclear charge on the outermost electrons. So that's why inner shell electrons or fields or experiences more nuclear charge from the nucleus compared to which one? Outermost shell electrons. So that means these electrons are responsible, okay, to reduce the effect of nuclear charge on the outermost electrons. That means these are acts as a barriers, okay. So adheres, okay, to fall the nuclear charge on the outermost electrons. So this effect is called as in the, okay, chemistry, shielding effect. What is that effect? Is shielding effect or screening effect. Shielding effect or screening effect. Screening effect. So now, what do you mean by the shielding effect? Shielding effect is nothing but the electrons present in the inner shell, okay, are shielded or screen the outermost electrons from the nucleus. Okay. So what do you mean by that? The electrons present in the inner shell shielded or screened the outermost electrons from the nucleus. That is called shielding effect or screening effect. That means these are preventing the nuclear charge to fall on which one? Outermost electrons. So that's why the electrons present in the outermost shell generally are not strongly bound to the nucleus as compared to the which one? Inner shell electrons, because these are very close to the nucleus. While they are close to the nucleus, they are experiences the more nuclear charge from the nucleus as compared to the outermost electrons. That's why these are somewhat strongly bound to the nucleus compared to the outermost shell electrons. That's why this energy is somewhat okay, low and their energy is somewhat high. Okay, clear. The electrons are present in the outermost shell. So in the outermost shell, definitely there are subshells are there. What are the subshells are there? S subshell is there, P subshell is there, D subshell is there, F subshell is there. The electrons present in S, P, D and F. Whether the electrons present in all these subshells in outermost shell feel, okay, the same screening effect and shielding effect? No. So all the, okay, the electrons present in the given shell of a different subshells S, P, D and F, okay, are does not feel the same nuclear charge. So that means the electrons present in the S subshell are, okay, experience the amount of the positive charge from the nucleus is different from P, P is different from D, D is different from the which one? F. Now, which will be experience the more amount of the positive charge? Which electrons can be experience the less amount of the positive charge? That means the electrons present in the S subshell is always experiences the more amount of the positive charge from the nucleus as compared to the P, as compared to the D, as compared to the F. So, even though they are present in the outermost shell, all these subshells, but S will be, experiences the more, positive charge, and F will be experiences less positive charge from the nucleus. And which will be shielded more? F orbital is shielded more. Which orbital is less shielded? S orbital is less shielded. Why S orbital is less shielded? The reason is, because of the shape of S orbital, that is spherically symmetrical. So the S orbital, due to the spherical symmetrical nature, it will be spend more time nearer to the nucleus as compared to the P. When we are comparing the P and D, the P orbital is very close to the nucleus as compared to D. And among the D and F, D is somewhat very close to the nucleus as compared to which one? F. So that's why the electrons present in the S orbital are always shielded or screened less as compared to P than that of D than that of which one? F, due to the shape of the S orbital. That is spherically symmetrical. So that's why the which orbitals are having the more shielding power. More shielding power means S is greater than, P is greater than, D is greater than F. Whichever it is shielded more, that should be having the which one better? Less energy. That's why the S subshell is always having the less energy than P, than D, than that of which one? F. So this is the shielding power capacity, and this is the which one better? Energy. Shielding power. Because spherically symmetrical nature, S orbital is preventing the more nuclear charge as compared to the P than that of D than that of F. But the electrons present in the S subshell of outermost shell will be screened less. In which case better? Yes. Than that of which one? P. Than that of D. Than that of F. That's why the S orbitals are having the lower energy and F orbitals are having the higher energy. So, here one more important point that is commonly we discuss, this shielding effect or screening effect. Along with that one, this is what we are commonly listen, that is effective nuclear charge. Effective nuclear charge. So, what do you mean by the effective nuclear charge? The net positive charge experienced by an electron from the nucleus is called as effective nuclear charge. That is generally represented with the Z effective. So, the net positive charge experienced by electrons from the nucleus. That is called effective nuclear charge. So whichever the electron can be experienced more amount of the positive charge, that is obviously strongly bound to the which one? Nucleus, and that electron should be having the lower energy. And that electron is present in a particular subshell or orbital, that is also corresponding to the lower energy state. So this is about the energies of the different subshells in multi-electron atoms. So from that one we can conclude the one statement. What is that is, the very first one, so for a given principal energy level, with increasing the value of L, so the energy is also increases. So 2s is having the lower energy, 2p is having the higher energy. L is equal to 0, L is equal to 1. So that's why for a given principal energy level, with increasing the L value, the energy of that subshell is also increases. That is the first conclusion. And the second conclusion, you can observe this energy level diagram. The energy gap between the S subshell and P subshell is always very small. But whereas the energy gap between the P and D subshell is large. And that's why, so between the S and P subshell, the energy gap is very small. And P and D, it is which one? Large. So between the D and F, still it is increases. Large gap is there between the D and F as compared to P and D as compared to that of S and P. So this is the second observation we made from this energy level diagram. And what is the energy order we can say? Okay, the 1s is lower energy, then that of 2s, then 2p, then 3s, then 3p, then 4s, 3d, 4p, 5s, 4d. Like that we can write the order. And the fourth conclusion we made is generally 1s, then after that you can say 2s, 2p, then 3s, 3p. Then you are expected 3d. But instead of 3d, what is there beta here? 4s. After the 4s, 3d is there. So that means sometimes the sublevels of higher energy falls below the sublevels of lower energy. See here 4s, 3d. So the 4s is the sublevels of higher energy, 3d is the sublevels of lower energy. So generally after 3p, what you are expected normally if you written without the knowledge of chemistry, you write the 3d. But what is there here? 4s is there. So there are certain irregularities also there in the energy level diagram. So that is sometimes the sublevels of higher energy will be falls below the sublevels of which one? Lower energy. So these are the four conclusions we made from the energies of different subshells in the multi-electron energy level diagram. What are that? The first one, once again I repeated, with increasing the L value for a given principal energy level, the energy of subshells is increases. That is very clear. The first one. And the second point is, so between the S and P subshells, the energy gap is low, and whereas in between the P and D, the energy gap is very high, and from D to F we are comparing, it is too large energy gap. So that is the second conclusion. The third conclusion is, sometimes the sublevels of higher energy will be falls below the sublevels of higher energy. And the fourth one is, the energy order is 1s is less than, 2s is less than, 2p is less than, 3s is less than, 3p less than, 4s less than, 3d less than, 4p less than, 5s less than, 4d, like that, so on we can write. So this is about the energy level diagram for the electron in an atom. We can discuss in two ways. One is hydrogen atom and another one is multi-electron atoms. So our next topic is electronic configuration of an atoms. This is also might be familiar to you in your 10th class. So whatever you write that electronic configuration, generally it is treated as an hypothetical process. So what do you mean by exactly electronic configuration? So far we discussed the energy of different orbitals, which is having the lower energy, which is having the higher energy. So in atoms, 1 electron present, in some atoms 2, in other atom 3, like that. So number of electrons are increases, okay, then the atom name is also changes, as well as the number of atomic orbitals also increases. So how to fill up these electrons in atoms? That is with the help of, there are certain rules are there. Before going to discuss, so what is electronic configuration? Electronic configuration means the distribution of electrons in the atomic orbitals is known as electronic configuration. Distribution of electrons in atomic orbitals, known as electronic configuration. So what does it tell? Okay, generally it characterizes the electron. This electronic configuration, so characterizes the electrons in each atom. And so generally for our sake of representations, how to write the electronic configuration, generally we are using certain symbols. So generally the orbital can be represented with a square box, or sometimes in some of the textbook might be used the circle. So that is, here these are the represents, both are represents an orbital. So an electrons, how to show? We cannot write like electron in the square box. The electrons can represent with the arrow or downward arrow. In some of the textbook might be like this. So like that we can represent it with the electron. This also can be represented the spin of an electron. If it is upwards, it is plus half. If it is downwards, it is minus half. Suppose a given subshell, a p subshell is there. The p subshell is having the 3 atomic orbitals. So the 3 atomic orbitals we can represent it with like this, because all the 3 orbitals are having the same energy. So px, and this is py and pz. If it belongs to second shell, we can write as a 2px, 2py, 2pz, like that. If it is a third shell, 3px, 3py, 3pz, like that we can represent it. Okay. If the d subshell is there, what you write as simply d subshell. Okay. So in the d subshell, 5 orbitals are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 orbitals. If it is f subshell, we can write as the 7. So like that we can represent it with the space, that orbital, and these arrows represent the which one? Electron. If the spin of an electron is a plus half, that arrow is upwards. The spin of the electron is minus half, then the arrow should be downwards. Like that we can represent the electrons in the electronic configuration. So while writing that electronic configuration, you know, for example, you write like this. So 3px2, 3px2, okay, or 3p2 or 2s2, okay, 2s1, like that you write. So what do you mean by this one? So this 2 represents the electrons. How many electrons are present in that px orbital? That is how many better? 2. And this px represents the, so simply an orbital. In which orbital the electron is present? Px orbital. And the 3 represents the principal quantum number, that is a main energy level. Principal energy level is represented by that number, or we can also write the principal quantum number. And in which subshell is present? This p only. Only p represents subshell. Px represents the orbital, p represents the subshell. So your main energy level, then sub energy level. In that subshell, in which orbital the electrons are present? How many electrons are present? So this can be characterized, okay, of each electron by the which one? Electronic configuration. So like that, so we write the electronic configurations of different atoms containing the different electrons. Okay. So to write the electronic configurations, there are 3 rules are there. The 3 rules are, the first one is Aufbau principle, second one is Pauli's exclusion principle, third one is Wundt's rule of maximum multiplicity. So first let me discuss one by one what are the rules, with the help of rules how to fill up the electrons in the atomic orbitals. Okay, that is we have to be discussed first. So the first principle is Aufbau principle. So what states that Aufbau principle? It states that in ground state of an atom, electrons enters the orbital of lowest energy. So first and subsequent electrons fed in the order of increasing energies. So simply, always the electron first goes to the orbitals which are having the lower energy. Then after filling that orbital, next it goes to the next higher energetic orbital. So that is Aufbau principle. Aufbau means is a German word. Its meaning is build up and one by one. First electron goes to the lower energy, next it goes to the next to the lower energy orbital, that is higher energy orbital, to that one. After that one it will be goes to the higher and higher energetic orbital. Like that the electrons are one by one we can fill up in the orbital. So that is clearly told by the Aufbau principle. Then the question comes to our mind. Sir, how do you calculate the energy? How do we know which is lower energy, which is higher energy? Just now we discussed the energy level diagram for the multi-electron atoms, which is lower in energy, which is higher in energy. But every time it is very difficult to remember, so that energy level diagram to fill up the orbitals with electrons. So that's why, so with the help of the 2 quantum numbers, the principal quantum number and azimuthal quantum number, so we can determine the energy of each orbital. So that is by one rule, that is Bohr-Buris rule. Bohr-Buris rule. So says that the first one is orbitals filled with the electrons in the increasing order of n plus L values. And that means whichever the orbital is having the lower n plus L value, that is having the lower energy. So whichever the orbital is having the higher n plus L value, that is said to be the higher in energy. So for example, let us take first 1s orbital, okay, and 2s orbital. Let us compare. So here n value, L value, and n plus L value you can see. So for this one 1 and here 0. Here it is 2, it is 0. What is n plus L value? It is 1 and it is here 2. Similarly, okay, so among the 1s and 2s orbital, the n plus L value is low for 1s orbital. That's why the electron first enter into the 1s orbital. After filling the electrons in the 1s orbital, next it goes to the 2s orbital. Next comes to the, after the 2s, or suppose if you write 2p, then n is equal to 2 and here L is equal to 1, then 2 plus 1, 3. Among the 2s and 2p, the 2s orbital is having the lower energy. So that's why first electrons are entering into the 2s orbital. After that 2p subshell. Then suppose in the third shell 3s, 3p is there. Okay, among these two, which is having the lower energy, that is you can calculate. Here 3 and here what is it? 0, here 3 and it is here 1. So 3 and what is it? 4. So that first the electron is enter into the 3s orbital. After that the electrons are enter into the 3p subshell. Next comes to the, after 3p, generally suppose if you are not having any idea, then you write generally the third energy level, the 3d subshell is there. After that you write which one? 4s. Then what is that here? So it is 3 and d is equal to 2. Here it is 4, it is equal to 0. So that's why 3 plus 2, it is 5, 4 plus 0, 4. First the electron is enter into which orbital among the 3d and 4s? The electron is enter into the 4s orbital first. After filling the 4s orbital, then the electron is enter into the 3d subshell. So like that, orbitals are filled with the electrons in the increasing order of their n plus L values. This is the first point. And the second point is, in some cases, suppose if orbitals having same n plus L value, in that case, in such case, the orbital with lower value of n filled first. So suppose while you are calculating the n plus L value, so if the two orbitals are getting the same n plus L value, then in such cases what we have to do? Okay, so till you can calculate it here 4s. Okay, after that what is that? Okay, beta 4p. Let us see some more orbitals we can check it. 4p. So then 5s, 4d, like that we can check. In which one the orbital goes? See here, L is equal to 4. Okay, then P is equal to 1. So L is equal to 4. P is equal to 1. 4 plus 1. You get beta 5. In the case of this one, 5s orbital, so 5 and s is equal to beta 0 and 5. In the case of the 4d, then 4, L is equal to 2, then 6. Okay. After the 4s, what is there beta? 4p, then 4d, then 5s I written, right? Now, let me compare the energies. So, to which one the electron? Okay, I am fill up in the first 1s, then 2s, then 2p, then 3s, then 3p, then 4s, then 3d. After 3d, okay, the electron is enter into the which subshell? That is we have to be predict whether 4p or 5s or 4d. So the 4d, okay, into the 4d subshell the electron is never enters because the n plus L value is greater than the n plus L value of 4p and 5s. So that the competition is exists between 4p and 5s because both are having the same n plus L value. So among the 4p and 5s, okay, orbitals or subshells, into which subshell the electron is enters. So because it is not possible to predict it with n plus L value. In that case, we need to be apply this rule. Orbitals having the same n plus L value. In such case, the orbital with the lower value of n filled first. So both are having the n plus L value 5. In that case, whichever it is having the lower n value, among these two, which is having the lower n value? 4p. That's why first electron is enter into the 4p subshell. After that, the electron is enter into the 5s subshell. So like that, with the help of n plus L value, so we can determine the energy of subshell. After determining that energy of each subshell, we can easily write the order of all the subshells which is having the lower energy, which is having the higher energy. Based on that order, first the electron is enter into the lowest energy subshell. After that, okay, the electrons are go to the higher energy subshells. So this is given by the Bohr-Buris rule in the part of Bohr principle. That's why I say very clearly, in the ground state of an atom, the electron is always enters the orbitals of lower energy first, and subsequent electrons are fed in the increasing order of energies. How do you can determine the energy of the electron? With the help of two quantum numbers n and L. So based on that one rule was proposed. What is that? N plus L rule, that is Bohr-Buris rule. Orbitals filled with the electrons in the increasing order of their n plus L value. So we need to determine the energy in terms of n plus L value. Whichever it is having the lower n plus L value, into that the electron is first enters. So after the next, okay, the electron is entering into the next orbital. Supposing while calculating the n plus L value, if any two orbitals are having the same n plus L value, in that case the electrons are entering into the orbital which is having the lower value of n. This is about the Bohr principle. Based on that one, whatever you see that Miller diagram in your 10th class, this is you can draw like this. So first you write 1s, then you write 2s and 2p, then 3s, 3p and 3d, then 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f, then you write 5s, 5p, 5d, 5f, 6s, 6p, 6d, 7s, like that you can write. After that you can draw one line like this. First the electron is enter into which orbital? 1s, after that 2s, then 2p, 3s, then 3p, 4s, 3d, 4p, 5s, 4d, 5p, 6s, 4f, 5d, okay, 7s, like that. So we are filling the electrons in the increasing order of their, okay, energies. This is we call in your 10th class might be the Miller diagram. How do you predict this Miller diagram? Is based on the which value? N plus L value. Once we can calculate n plus value, whichever it is having the lower n plus L value, into that the electron is enters. If the n plus L value is same, the electron is enter into the orbital which is having the lower n value. So this is about the Bohr principle. So the second rule used to fill in the orbitals is Pauli's exclusive principle. So this principle states that no two electrons can have same set of 4 quantum numbers. 4 quantum numbers. So this is the principle is called Pauli's exclusion principle. So what do you mean by this one? No two electrons can have the same set of 4 quantum numbers. So no two electrons in an atom. In an atom can have same set of 4 quantum numbers. That means when you write the quantum numbers for the 2 electrons in an atom, definitely any one of the quantum number is different. Either principal or azimuthal or magnetic quantum number, or at least finally the spin quantum number is different. So that is given by the Pauli's exclusion principle. Okay. So now how does he say this one? To understand this one, let us take an example, helium. So the helium atomic number is 2. You know very well. Okay. Then these 2 electrons I am arranging in one of the orbital like this. So one person can arrange the electrons like this. Say I am giving A. Another person can arrange the electrons like this, and third person can arrange the electrons like this. So the 3 possibilities of arranging the electrons, okay, in the orbital, I can write like that: A, B, and C. Now here, which is the right arrangement of the 2 electrons in the orbital? So generally, in the case of helium, if the 2 electrons with a parallel spin, so their magnetic fields are reinforced each other, then it is said to be paramagnetic. If the 2 electrons with a parallel spin is there, and so they are, if the unpaired electrons are present, okay, if unpaired spin is present, those substances are called as paramagnetic. Okay, if the helium has this type of arrangement, then helium is said to be paramagnetic. So, if the 2 electrons with the same like that, but opposite spin, but here also the parallel spins are there, so it is also said to be which one? Paramagnetic. Here, spin paired, okay, no unpaired electron is present, spin paired. In these cases, the magnetic effects are cancelled out. Then it is repelled by the magnet, so that's why it is said to be diamagnetic in nature. And that means in an atom, if the electrons are with a parallel spin or with unpaired spin, their magnetic effects are reinforce each other and adding takes place. That will be resulted into which type of the substance? Paramagnetic substances. If the spins of an electrons are in anti-parallel, okay, so then they are repelled by the magnet because the magnetic effects are cancelled out. That's why it is said to be diamagnetic. Okay. Now experimentally find that helium is said to be paramagnetic or diamagnetic. So helium is said to be experimentally diamagnetic, not said to be paramagnetic. So helium is not paramagnetic. If it is diamagnetic, means the first one is ruled out and the second one is also ruled out. So which one is the correct one? The third arrangement is there. And that means, so while you are arranging an electron in a particular orbital, so definitely both the electrons must have which one beta? Opposite spins. So now, suppose if you write the quantum numbers in this case 1, because here helium is 1s2. So 1, 0, 0 plus half. So 1, 0, 0 plus half for 2 electrons. Here also 1, 0, 0 minus half. Here also what is it? 1, 0, 0 minus half. I am not just writing the quantum numbers. Principal quantum number 1. L is equal to S subshell 0. For S subshell magnetic quantum number 0. Though it is upward is there. What is the spin quantum number? Plus half. If it is downward is there? Minus half. 1, 0, 0 plus half for first electron. 1, 0, 0 plus half for second electron. Here also similarly, if I write the quantum numbers for these 2 electrons, I get like this. In the third case, so here 1, 0, 0, what is it? Plus half, and 1, 0, 0 minus half. Suppose we do not have an idea about their magnetic nature. Okay, suppose if I know only the Pauli's exclusive principle. So which is the right arrangement of electrons in the orbital? So what does it say? No two electrons in an atom can have the same set of 4 quantum numbers. Okay, here 2 electrons are having the same set of quantum numbers. 2 electrons are having the same set of quantum numbers. But the 2 electrons, even though, okay, the 3 quantum numbers are same up to the magnetic quantum number, but the spin quantum number is different. That's why, according to the Pauli's exclusive principle, so this is the right arrangement, these two are not correct. So, based on that experimental facts, by studying the magnetic nature, so this rule will be coming. That is that no 2 electrons in an atom can have the same set of 4 quantum numbers. Okay, till it is fine. So, in the first rule, we learn the electrons are enter into the lower energy orbital first. How many electrons are enter into the orbital? That is the question also, right? Somebody says I can fill up only 1 electron. Somebody says I fill up only 2 electrons. Somebody says I fill up the 4 electrons or 3 electrons or 5 electrons. We can also answer to such questions also. So, generally this Pauli's exclusive principle also says that each orbital can accommodate only the 2 electrons. Each orbital can accommodate only 2 electrons maximum. Either you may arrange 0 or 1 or maximum how many electrons you can accommodate? 2 electrons. Why only 2? Because let us take an example, lithium. So in the lithium, the 3 electrons are present. So the 3 electrons we have to be arranged in the orbital. For example, let us take first orbital, 1s orbital. In the 1s orbital, we can fill up the electrons with this idea. First electron with up spin and the another electron with minus of spin, and the third electron I am arranging with the again upward, that is with plus of spin. Okay, suppose somebody may arrange the electrons like this. So the first electron is upward, second electron is downward, the third electron is also with the spin minus up. I can arrange like this. So these are the two possibilities I have written. Okay. Now, when you write the quantum numbers, in the first 3 cases, the first one is 1, 0, 0 plus of, it's fine. 1, 0, 0, minus of, 1, 0, 0 plus of. This is for the first case, for this one. Okay. Now, the first 2 electrons, the first electron and the second electron quantum numbers, the 3 quantum numbers are same, but the spin quantum number is different. So it is valid Pauli's exclusive principle till that. Then, so the first and third you can compare. So all the quantum numbers are same, but according to Pauli's exclusive principle, no 2 electrons can have the same set of 4 quantum numbers. That's why. So the first and the third one is same. That's why it is not possible. Okay, and suppose if you write the second, if you go to like arrangement like this, then 1, 0, 0, plus of, and second one is what is it? 1, 0, 0 minus of, 1, 0, 0 minus of. Right? So first and second different set of quantum numbers, but the second and third what is it? Same set of quantum numbers. Okay. And if you are arranging the third electron in the same orbital, first electron I can arrange, second electron goes to the same orbital, and if the third electron is also goes to the same orbital, definitely the third electron quantum numbers must be same as any one of the other 2 electrons present in that orbital. So whenever these having the same set of quantum numbers, does it obey the Pauli's exclusive principle? No. That's why it is not possible to arrange the third electron in the same orbital. Only maximum we can accommodate how many electrons? Only 2 electrons we can accommodate. So that's why, so each orbital can accommodate maximum number of how many electrons? 2 electrons. That 2 electrons also will be must be which one with the opposite spin. Then only the 2 electrons never have the same set of quantum numbers. So this principle is called which one? Pauli's exclusion principle. So the third rule we are using for filling the orbitals is Un's rule. So this rule states that electron pairing will not take place in the orbitals of same energy until each orbital is singly filled. So what do you mean by this one? For example, you take the boron. Boron atomic number, that is equal to 5. So 5 electrons. First, which one is low energy? 1s. After that, 2s. After 2p. So in 1s subshell, how many orbitals are there? Only one orbital is there. It is maximum can accommodate how many electrons? 2 electrons. So that 1s2. After that, 2s subshell. The 2 electrons are enter into this one. In 2p subshell, how many orbitals are there? 3 orbitals are there. All these 3 orbitals are called degenerate orbitals, which are having the same energy. Out of the 5, 4 are filled. 1 electron is left, so that it is goes to the 2p subshell. Okay, fine. But when it comes to the carbon, that is Z is equal to 6. Here 2s2, 2p, 1. So similarly, you write for carbon 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Okay. So generally, while writing the configuration, always you need to be write very close. Just for our understanding, I can write it like this. So 1s2. Okay. After the electron is enter into the next higher energy level, that is 2s. It is also maximum can accommodate 2 electrons only, according to the Paulus exclusive principle. Now here, the 2p2 is there. So now, then one possibility of writing or filling the electrons like this. I can write like this. And one more possibility for the carbon, I can write like this. 1s2, 2s2, I write the arrangement. So instead of filling the electron in this orbital, I just write here. Why? Because all are having the same energy. So that's why I write the electron with the opposite spin. This is the one. The third possibility I can write is, so 1s2, 2s2, and 2p2. So all the orbitals are having the same energy, so that I can write with parallel spin. This is the 3 possibilities I written. First possibility, second possibility, third possibility. Such kind of possibilities are possible in the case of a boron? No, it is not possible. Well, because the p subshell containing only 1 electron, but here p subshell containing the 2 electrons. The 2 electrons in the 3 different p orbitals having the same energy, I can arrange like this. Now, which is the right arrangement of electrons in the orbitals? Okay. So the right arrangement, there is one principle is there. The most stable arrangement of electrons in the subshells is the one with greatest number of parallel spins. Greatest number of parallel spins. Where the greatest number of parallel spins are there? Is it there in the parallel spin? No. Here the opposite spin and the net effect is become 0. And here even though we can arrange in different orbitals, but here what is happen? Opposite spin is there. That's why which is the right arrangement is the third one. That's why first we have to be fill up the electrons in each orbital having the same energy. Then after that the pairing will be started. So let us take the one more example, you can understand easily. So the nitrogen, that is equal to 7. What is the configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. So now what is the most stable arrangement here? So in the 1s orbital, 2 electrons. In 2s subshell, 2 electrons. In the 2p subshell, all the orbitals first fill up with 1 electrons with a parallel spin. This is give the most stable arrangement according to the principle. Okay, fine, till this. Then oxygen, Z is equal to 8. So first each orbital is singly filled. Then only the pairing will be takes place in the case of only degenerate orbitals. So now here 8 electrons, 7 electrons means until each orbital is singly filled, after that pairing will be started. So this is called Und's rule. Simply, what is that here? 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. That means whenever you are filling the degenerate orbitals, first each orbital is filled with electrons with parallel spins. After filling each orbital with one electron, the pairing will be started. So that rule is called which one? Und's rule of maximum multiplicity. These three rules, the first one Abbo principle, second one is Pauli's exclusive principle, third one Und's rule. These three rules are used to write the electronic configuration of different atoms. In the last class we discussed the quantum numbers. Today our topic is energy level diagram for electron in an atom. So what was the need to study this topic? So in the last topic we discussed an atom has the different orbitals. In that orbitals the electrons are present. To fill up the electrons in different orbitals, so the order of energy of those orbitals is needed. So that means which is lower in energy, which is higher in energy. The relative energies of those orbitals can be shown by an arrangement. That arrangement is called energy level diagram. So this energy level diagram we studied it in two cases. One is energies of different orbitals in hydrogen atom, and another one is energies of different subshells in multi-electron atoms. First go to the first one, energies of different orbitals in hydrogen atom. So when we draw the energies of the different subshells, okay, we get an arrangement like this. This is called energy level diagram of different orbitals in the case of hydrogen atom. So from this diagram, first statement we concluded is all the subshells in a given principal energy level having the same energy. So that means, so let us take the 2s or 2p or 3s, 3p, 3d, 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f. So in their respective energy levels, whatever the subshells are present, all those are having the same energy.